This analysis will cover up to the end of Season 2 of the solo leveling anime, so if you haven't watched up until that point or are planning to, maybe do that first before watching this. But for those who have, let's get right into it. Sung Jin-woo's power is consistently shown off throughout the series, but we never really get a clear gauge as to how much stronger the system makes him compared to other hunters. Of course, there are plenty of scenes where he is shown decimating monsters, while other hunters of a higher rank are fighting for their life. But there are few discerning moments that show just how much more powerful he is. The primary focus will be on the item stats, namely the ways in which they interplay with his abilities. While most hunters are shown to use high-grade gear that would be commercially available to anyone with the requirements and funds to purchase them, Jin-woo gets his weapons from the system, which have more qualities other than craftsmanship and materials. Weapons obtained from the system not only give increased base damage, but also have abilities either tied to the standalone weapon or as a set bonus from gear of the same type. A standalone weapon effect such as the Kasaka's Venom Fang does not require other pieces of gear to use the effects of Paralyze and Bleed, while the Demon King's daggers require both of the daggers to be held to activate the two as one effect. Besides the weapon's stats and effects, Jin-woo also gets many beneficial stats from his armor, which is not visible while he is in combat, such as the Crimson Knight's helm, Demon Monarch's necklace, ring, earrings, and other pieces. Other pieces of equipment may also enhance Jin-woo's innate abilities, such as Baruka's dagger, which reduces the weight of its wielder, allowing Jin-woo to move at greater speed without eating into his mana reserves. These key points highlight just how much stronger Jin-woo's gear is as opposed to those used by contemporary hunters within solo leveling. Now on to a comparison between hunters. We can start with Cha-hei as a prime example of a hunter that uses a weapon that is not obtained through the system. Cha-hei is shown to use various sword techniques such as Sword Dance and Sword of Light to boost her attacks. These techniques, among others, are shown to be the main source of Cha-hei's power and earns her the title of an S-rank hunter. Additionally, Cha-hei is recognized as an above-average S-rank hunter. While Sung Jin-woo is shown to have physical enhancement techniques, it is indicated on the system that his weapons do possess their own stats outside of his techniques, which set him apart from other hunters. The way that weapons of other hunters are portrayed in solo leveling lead us to believe that the equipment they use does not directly give them any bonus compared to the likes of the weapons retrieved from the system. Another indication of the power that Sung Jin-woo's weapons give him is in episode 10 of Season 2, when Sung Jin-woo and Goto Ryuji fight in hand-to-hand combat to test their offensive and defensive abilities against one another. Given that Jin-woo is obviously holding back in this sparring match for the most part, it is shown once they both unleash their abilities to the highest degree that Jin-woo is superior to Goto. However, it could still be argued that the gap between them is not incredibly large as the other hunters around them feared for the safety of both parties equally. However, in the case of Jeju Island and the fight with the Ant King, Goto was very easily defeated and was considered an unworthy opponent. While this may lead us to believe that Sung Jin-woo is just that much stronger considering the outcome, who can say just how much better off Jin-woo would have been if he had used conventional high-grade weapons and armor in the fight against the Ant King? When Sung Jin-woo fights against the Ant King, it is clear that his defensive ability exceeds Goto's as he is able to withstand the Ant King's blows. However, his bare-handed blows are not enough to cause any life-threatening damage. Jin-woo's ability to defend the Ant King's blows likely comes from his base vitality stats, as well as the defensive items he possesses from the system, such as the Crimson Knight's helm, an S-tier item which gives Jin-woo a 20% damage reduction, as well as 20 flat stat points in both strength and vitality. Additionally, while not explicitly stated or shown, we are left to assume that Jin-woo is still using the B-tier High Knight's chestplate and gauntlet, giving both a 7% and 3% reduction to damage respectively, for a total damage reduction of 30% with the armor he has equipped during the battle. Additionally, he has the entire set of the Demon Monarch's accessories, which include the necklace, ring, and earrings, each providing 20 points to agility and intelligence, 20 points to perception and intelligence, and 20 points to strength and vitality respectively. The effect of the set in its entirety also issues a further 10 points into all of Jin-woo's stats. Jin-woo is also able to counteract the Ant King's paralysis with his health and longevity buff, which detoxes any harmful substance from his system. Aside from defensive stats, the effect of the Demon King's daggers give Jin-woo a flat 220 attack power on each dagger totaling 440, and based on his strength stat, which I could only find in the manhwa, is 241, which with the additional stats from his armor, boosts that by 40 extra points to a total of 281, and is applied as an attack bonus to each one of his daggers as per their effect, giving a total of 1002 attack with the 2 daggers equipped or 501 per dagger. This stat, however high or low, is pretty difficult to measure objectively, as it never is explicitly stated how much health an enemy such as the Ant King has, but it is safe to say that a weapon's attack power does enhance other offensive skills. This is shown when Jin-woo activates mutilation during his fight with the Ant King, as it is an evolution of the skill critical attack, which finds vital points in an enemy's defense. Sorry guys, but for the life of me I could not find any official source as to the numerical increase that this skill provides, but given the system is replicating that of a present-day roleplay game, we can try to draw implications on that basis. As solo leveling is trying to emulate a conventional RPG, we can use the critical multiplier from those games which, as a standard, is a 200% damage multiplier. Using this shot, we can see that assuming this is a single use of the mutilation skill that it hits a total of 7 times, using our previous damage value and the crit multiplier, we can calculate the amount of damage in a single use of mutilation would be 714 attack damage. This was shown to have not only the highest damage output against the Ant King, but also was the fastest and most dexterous attack, allowing Jin-woo to reign victorious in the battle. Additionally, it is likely that Jin-woo also used the Monarch's domain when deploying his shadows, as he was going all out in the fight for either his own sake or the mortally wounded Chahe's. You bet I've tried avoiding talking about these shadow soldiers for last because they are by far the most ambiguous in Jin-woo's arsenal of offense. Shadows themselves are a superior undead being that can only be summoned by shadow monarchs such as Jin-woo. These shadows have 7 grades being normal, elite knight, general, martial, and grand martial grade. Shadows can wield weapons or accessories, as well as having their own abilities. One of the more notable shadows throughout the series, and in the fight with the Ant King, as well as my personal favorite, Igris, is an elite knight grade shadow who later comes to possess the Demon King's longsword. While stats are hard to measure for enemies like Igris, it's safe to say that he was stronger than Jin-woo when they fought, given his name was highlighted in red text, which indicates a higher level opponent. This leads us to believe that he may have been a level 55 or higher enemy, considering Jin-woo's level at the time. Becoming a shadow also allowed Jin-woo to raise his potential by increasing his rank from knight to elite knight as the series progresses. Another notable shadow under Jin-woo's control is Tusk, who possesses the Orb of Avarice, and is Jin-woo's second Monarch grade shadow during the Ant King fight. Having a spell for each star sign as well as regeneration and gravitation magic makes Tusk one of, if not the strongest soldier under Jin-woo's control during the fight. The Orb of Avarice is an A-rank magical item provided by the system which doubles the user's magic damage output. While the magic damage of his attacks are not specified, it is evident that they are greatly affected by the Orb of Avarice, shown most prominently when used in tandem with Hyman of the Fire Dragon during the Jeju Island raid when he clears out a large swarm of ants. Going back to the aforementioned Monarch's domain, this would further increase all Shadow's power including both Igris and Tusk by a further 50%, totaling Tusk's magic damage effectiveness to a staggering 250%. So while Jin-woo himself is a menacing foe for any enemy that comes his way, his shadows are definitely a force to be reckoned with. That's pretty much all I could get from this topic, considering once I got about halfway through it was like trying to squeeze orange juice out of a rock, but I digress. Overall, while visually the distinction between Sung Jin-woo and other hunters is painfully evident, the information I've gathered really goes to show just how much the system's weapons and armor really do for him in battle from a statistical standpoint. Well, thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy this type of content. Any and all comments would be appreciated. Till next time.